What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Born to Create podcast, ran by Acef.media. You can listen to this podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, we are there. You can also check us out on Instagram at Born to Create podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ace Fothergill. I'm a 19-year-old photographer, videographer, and a passionate apple pie eater. And this is my co-host,
Francois Mittins. I'm a graphic designer, photographer, and video editor. So thank you for tuning in to our episode again. So we're going to go over our top 10 mistakes.
photography related.
Photography related, for sure. But yeah, let's get ready on this.
You want to start it off?
For sure. So let's start off with the number one pet peeve and number one mistake, hair elastics. So when I started doing photo shoots, my first couple photo shoots, I had like models having hair elastics but around the wrist, which I find distracting. Depends on the style you're going for, but I find it distracting and really hard to edit out. And it's just a lot of time wasted editing out. So I decided every single photo shoot, the number one question I ask a model is, please take off your hair elastics.
Even though we
on
still
your
miss
wrist.
it.
So yeah, sometimes we miss it for 2 seconds and then, we take it out. The other one that you and me, we have in common there.
Yeah.
Lens caps. You know what, guys? We always forget the lens caps here and there. You gotta look like a noob sometimes here and there, you know? And then when they come back and look at your work, you're like, damn, that outcome though. They thought you were a noob, but you're that much better.
Yeah.
Forgetting those lens caps.
What he means by that is like forgetting to take off the lens caps.
Yeah. On the cameras.
I guarantee you almost everyone's done it.
Oh, more than once.
100%.
Easy.
100%.
Oh, like the exposure's kind of dark here. Oh no, it's my lens cap. Yeah, that happened a couple times. Oh man, I felt stupid. The other mistake would probably be for me is the hair in the face. So what I mean by that is like sometimes when you're like playing the hair, like the model has her hair going around, things like that. Sometimes she has like a couple of them flying across her face or across one eye. Just like a couple strings of hair.
Yeah, like the baby hairs.
Baby hairs and things like that, exactly. And that is really tough to edit out in Photoshop. Like I've done it a couple times, like it worked out pretty well, but it's a lot of work.
I mean, it all depends on what you're going for as well. Like if you're going for the messy hair vibe, then it makes sense.
For sure.
But if you're going for like clean hair, looking like, let's say proper, just for the term of this, but yeah, proper, like it doesn't look too good to have like a couple of baby hairs going on or flailing out of wherever.
Or on top, yeah.
Stuff
well,
like that.
that's normal there, but
yeah.
The other thing would be like forget a flash to bring my flash. So most shoots I would just have it in case, but on a couple of occasions I forgot it, and those were the shoots I needed it.
Yeah.
Back in the days when my camera wasn't as good, or still now, it's just like in low light I need that extra light in case, or that little kick if there's too much shadow on one side. Always good to have one.
Yeah.
Just bring it in case, or a reflector if you don't have a lens or you don't have a flash. Other thing would be overexposed. So like in the past, super funny mistake. Okay, so what happened is my battery was running low, so I went inside my settings in my camera, and where your LCD screen, like your display in the back of the camera, I turned it down to the lowest so it wouldn't take as much battery for the light. So I was shooting indoors with this model, and I was like, these shots are dark. They're always so dark. And I just turned it off like 2 minutes before that. And I was like, these shots are not coming out right. It's always dark. Like, what's going on? Like, everything's on max. And I was like flipping out, and I was like, what's going on? And I was like, whatever, I'll bring them back in post. Once I got home, and I was like, oh, they're overexposed because my stupid guy just decided to dim down the light just because I was running low on battery. So that was one of my biggest mistakes I've made. But it was funny. I recovered from the shots. It wasn't too bad, but yeah, that was a funny moment.
Hey Frank, charge your battery, son.
Oh yeah, that too. Oh man. So you want to go over a couple of yours, and we'll switch back there?
Yeah, so obviously like the lens cap and the elastics as well. But one thing I messed up on is taking too long on my edits for an important client. So I shot at Blues Fest last year for Keys and Crates. They're a music group, if you guys know who they are. But so I shot with him, and like while you're on the road, like you're on tour and stuff, you want the photos back like that night or the next day in the morning so they can post them so it's relevant to where they just were, and they're not already at the next location. And I just took way too long to get back their edits, so I totally messed up on that. But from that, now I've learned, okay, for important stuff, like doesn't matter what you're doing the next day, like, just get it done that night. They only need a couple photos to see anyways, and then post the best one. So just definitely like getting that done. That has been like one of my biggest mistakes. Way back earlier in the days when I first started out, not planning shoots and not like coming to a shoot prepared.
Yeah.
Definitely something I've struggled with. Like you're on the shoot and like you have no idea what you really want to like do with it. So yeah, if you haven't checked out the last episode, we went over how we plan our shoots. So make sure to go check that one out. Another thing, not spending enough time shooting and like actually like basically like looking at what I'm shooting. Like I know that sounds like super weird, but like actually full on paying attention to like how the model's posing, what's going on in the background, if there's any hair in their face and stuff like that, anything coming out of the top of their head, which is another mistake I've done.
Yeah.
Like you never know if the tree's in the background or like a random pole just coming out of the top of their head. Like it doesn't look nice. It looks kind of weird. One thing is not calling a location ahead of time to see if they were open. So one time I went all the way out to like Gatineau, which is like an hour drive for me, and they weren't open. So like they just wasted my time, the model's time, and wasted gas. So yeah, definitely calling locations is one thing.
Yeah, that's for sure.
One thing video related is forgetting to hit record when shooting.
Fun times, that's for sure.
Done that a couple times. Definitely not something you don't want to do if you're on a huge shoot with an important client, but it was just stuff we were filming for the fun of it.
Yeah, it's more vlog related, so it's not too bad.
So what are some other things that you've kind of messed up on?
The other thing would be not looking at the weather.
Yep.
That's a big one I always forget to do. And I still, times and times again, I forget. Like, I don't mind when it's, like, raining and things like that. I don't mind too bad. Depends on the type of shoot.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just, like, bad timing or bad weather. And I'm just, like, I shouldn't be shooting. Or, like, it's bad conditions for the model to be driving. Like, it happened a couple of times. It's just, it happens, but it's a mistake I've made, and I learn from there. Like, you can never rely on the weather, but at least somewhat plan around it as well.
Yeah, or you're not prepared, like clothing wise.
Exactly.
Proper shoes, like coats, sweaters, gloves. Gloves is another thing.
Oh yes.
We did a lot of winter shoots and didn't have enough clothing on.
No, not last year. That's for sure. Like knuckles were bleeding. It's just really bad.
It's a good shoot though. It's just should have been prepared more.
Yeah. The other thing, like you were talking, like not having a clear idea of what you want to shoot. Like you're going in blind. It's like, yeah, okay, we have a shoot. Sure, let's just go and I'll meet you up, and then whatever happens, happens. It's good for a challenge, but not something I would do with an actual client or somebody I want to do a shoot with. And then if we're talking about like clothing wise again, not bringing extra socks.
Yeah.
So, little backstory, like me and Ace, we went a couple times hiking, and I fell in a couple puddles. A couple times, and my socks were drenched wet, and I was just cold for the rest of the day.
Stepped into a nice freezing cold stream.
That
a couple times.
Yeah.
Slipped on ice.
Fell on rocks. I mean, I'm clumsy when it comes to rocks.
Yeah, I've walked in water with my shoes on. Just took my socks off. Didn't really care.
Yeah.
Got the nice shot. Got the shot, but
that's what matters.
Yeah, definitely being prepared clothing wise.
Oh yeah, and then my other big one was awkward poses with the model.
Yeah.
Not on her behalf. It wasn't her fault. It would be more on my fault, as in like technically speaking. So let's say she's on this on a chair, like if you lock your elbows in when you're standing or you're posing, it looks like it's about to break. It doesn't look natural. Same thing with if a model is standing up, her knees are locked in, so that means like they're completely straight and there's no little bent in it. It just looks broken. It looks like there's no natural flow to the shot. So like little things like that I would mistake and not remember to like look for.
Yeah.
But like over the years you just get over it, and
like even that ties into what I was saying about like not paying attention to actually what you're shooting.
Exactly.
It's definitely things that you learn. One thing, shooting at 1.8.
Yep, we've all been there. Get yourself a nice lens. You can shoot 1.8. That means you can have a nice bokeh in the background, so everything's nice and blurry, and then like your subject's supposed to be in focus, but
yeah.
So
I don't know. So for those of you that don't know, like 1.8 is your aperture, and the lower the number, the more light it allows in, and like the less stuff that's kind of in focus, and then the bigger the number, the less light allows in, and like the more that's in focus.
Exactly. So a little quick, I sometimes show my models just so they understand the concept. Sometimes is take a pencil or your finger in front of your face. The closer your finger is to your eyes, to your face, and then you're like focusing on that. Everything else is blurry, but the further you put your finger away, everything else gets more in focus. So that's kind of what aperture is.
Yeah.
That's the clear explanation of that.
Pretty much for the simple term. What else is there? Forgetting SD cards.
Yes, I've done that a couple of times. Oh, once.
Or forgetting to take stuff off of SD cards.
Yes.
Done that a couple times.
So always make sure right after a shoot or whenever you have the chance right after a shoot is to export all your images. Make sure you're backed up and ready to, so they're all set up. And then you clear your format your SD card for the next shoot.
Yeah.
I've had that a couple of times where I've had old pictures from an event or something on the same SD card I was shooting with. It's a lot cleaner and easier to not have them there and to have an SD card for every, like a fresh SD card.
100%.
Formatted.
Definitely charge batteries too. Make sure you have everything with you.
Yes.
Forgetting stuff is a big thing that tends to happen.
Yep. So maybe a checklist would be good to have or something.
Yeah.
Like,
especially if it's a really important shoot.
oh yes,
100%. 100%. And that's all I can really think of.
Yeah, I think we went over a little more than 10 there, but
yeah,
those are like a couple mistakes we've been going through the past year or so, and we've learned from them. We're still dealing with a couple of them.
I'd love to hear some of your guys' mistakes and some stuff that you guys have kind of messed up on and like what you've learned out of it. So shoot us a DM at Born to Create Podcast. Definitely would love to know what you guys have kind of messed up on and how you've overcome that challenge.
Yeah, or if you have any funny stories of little problems you encountered during shoots, like we've all been there.
Shoot us a DM. We'd love to get to know it.
Exactly.
So thank you guys for stopping by and listening to this episode. Stay tuned for upcoming topics surrounding the photography industry. If you'd like us to go over a certain topic, let us know in the comments below or shoot us a DM over at Born to Create Podcast. You can check me out on Acef.media on all social platforms.
And on Instagram, it's fm.photography_design.
Certifiably the longest name on Instagram. Proven facts, statistics. Just messing around.
You know it.
Anyways, thanks a lot for tuning in. Keep chasing your dream. Stay woke.
How you going, guys?